All right, thank you all for joining this breakout session. This is your last breakout session, not breakup, geez, of today. I hope you all can hear me well. If you have not already, please mute yourself. And if you'd like to be on video, that's fine. If not, you're more than welcome to turn it off. My job today is to introduce your wonderful speakers. So we'll get going. Amber Nightingale-Sultane is the Associate State Director for Community Outreach for AARP Virginia. She leads community outreach and education projects, organizes local events, and recruits, trains, and engages AARP members as community volunteers. Prior to joining AARP in 2001, Amber worked on Capitol Hill as a legislative assistant to Congressman Bobby Scott of Virginia. She's worked on electoral campaigns in Virginia, Maryland, and New Jersey, and she was one of the first participants in AmeriCorps' National Civilian Community Corps, a nationwide community service program. Amber has a bachelor's degree in history from George Mason University and has completed graduate work in communications at American University. You will also be hearing from Genesis Webb today. Genesis is an AARP volunteer. She is a nurse practitioner with 9 years of healthcare experience. Genesis is passionate about geriatric healthcare outcomes and specializes in urologic medicine for our nation's veterans. She completed her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing at Old Dominion University and then earned her Master's of Science at George Mason University. She holds a national board certification with the American Association of Nurse Practitioners as an adult geriatric nurse practitioner. She's an active member of several nurse practitioner organizations. Amber, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Anna. I understand I might have some audio trouble, so I'm going to try to speak clearly, and I apologize up front for any audio and visual problems that I might experience. So thank you, everyone, for coming to the third and final breakout. I'm Amber Nightingale-Sultane. As Anna said, I do community outreach for AARP in Virginia, and specifically in Northern Virginia. AARP has offices in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. So that means that we have staff and volunteers who are active in all 50 states. We believe that age and experience can expand your possibilities, and we create and connect you with unique tools and programs, help you save money, and tackle issues that matter most to you, your family, and your community. And what we do, we might surprise you. I hope that you'll be surprised by some of the things you learn about what we're doing in your state this evening. So AARP volunteers increase AARP's visibility in the community by representing us at local events, coordinating programs, and bringing our resources to other community organizations, and also by collaborating with multicultural organizations. Pictured here, you'll see some volunteers who were out at the home show, and you may wonder, why would AARP volunteers be at a home show? Well, that's because we have some resources around home modifications and how you can make adjustments to your home so you can live and age in place. We also, this is just an example of us at the George Mason University Health and Wellness Festival. We go there every year, and while it is typically a younger audience with college students, they are our prospective members one day, hopefully, but they're also there to talk to their professors and their staff. So you never know where you might find us. This is some other examples of fairs, festivals that we've been in every June, Pride Month, and we participate in Pride parades, at Pride festivals, and I think it's pretty safe to say we participate in those in all 50 states, as well as during Hispanic Heritage Month, or Black History Month, or all kinds of festivals celebrating cultures, and we have a presence at them. Volunteers also present our educational programs on a variety of topics. One of our most popular programs is our downsizing and decluttering program. And you're going to hear from Genesis Webb, who is our fabulous presenter on that topic in just a bit. But we also have volunteers who talk about and present on Home Fit, which I mentioned earlier, it's a home modification program to help you age in place. We have another program on the 6 pillars of brain health and the 6 pillars of the brain healthy lifestyle. In Virginia, we have we use a team of volunteers to do this presentation. We have one main presenter, Erin Mossberg, who was supposed to be with us tonight, but as a nurse, has been called into an unexpected situation, so she was not, unfortunately, she wasn't able to join us. So she does our 6 pillars of brain health once a month with a team of volunteers, where she presents each of the pillars, and then we have volunteers facilitate breakout rooms to discuss the pillars in greater detail and have an opportunity for the participants to talk about the pillars and how they might implement them in their life. Some other presentations that our volunteers do are Medicare, Social Security, caregiving, and frauds and scams, educating folks on how to prevent frauds and scams. The volunteers also are engaged with local elected officials at the state level and at the federal level. Here we have a picture of our volunteers who are marching up to the General Assembly on opening day in Richmond. And again, I think it's safe to say that in all 50 states, we have volunteers who are present at their General Assembly legislators year-round or whenever they're in session. And volunteers, they also help create solutions to problems that their community faces. This is just one example of a super volunteer, Wahed Hassani, who saw the need for food. The local food pantry in his community was low on food, and about 10 years ago, he started this effort to collect food and money during the month of Ramadan under the guise of AARP's Create the Good. And in those the past 10 years, he has raised and collected more than $15,000 of $15,000, but also food for our local food pantry. So he saw a need and he took it upon himself to try to solve that problem in his community. Again, with a program called Create the Good. Some of the volunteer positions that we have that I think are pretty broad and would be true in any state where you live. We have community ambassadors, volunteers who speak on our speakers bureau, who either speak, present, or facilitate our workshops. Then we have our driver safety volunteers that do an 8-hour instruction driver refresher course. And our tax aid program is 100% run by volunteers. I think it's one of our most impressive programs. It opens on February 1st and goes through April 15th. And the volunteers help prepare taxes for low-income individuals. There's no age requirement. There's no income limit. So it's a fantastic program and one where you can see the smile directly on the person's face who you've helped. Our legislative volunteers and congressional volunteers, again, they're being more focused towards advocacy. And then our executive council members and our state president help shape the direction of the work that the staff and volunteers do at the state and local level. And we like to have a lot of fun at AARP, and I think that when you come on board and you get engaged with us, you'll learn that. So what would your next step be? If you are interested and want to learn more and want to take the plunge, I would encourage you to go to aarp.org/volunteer and submit an application. And once you submit an application, that will be routed to your state office and or the program that you have expressed an interest in volunteering with. And if someone from that state office or that program lead, either a staff member or a volunteer, will be in touch with you. And then once you have gone through an interview and you've been appointed, you'll have access to our orientation and any training that is necessary. So I will say that if you can let the fun begin, and we would welcome any new volunteers who want to come and join us. Now I'm going to stop sharing. That's my part of the presentation, and I'm going to welcome one of our super volunteers, Genesis Webb, who is, like yourselves, a nurse and a very busy nurse and mom, and still finds time to contribute and give back through. So Genesis, you want to come on and share a bit about your volunteer experience with us?
Yes, thank you, Amber, and thank you for the introduction, Anna. Thank you all for being here with us this evening. I love to see all the nurses. Basically, AARP has been a wonderful experience as a volunteer thus far. I actually was looking for volunteer opportunities, hopefully finding something that could balance well with working full-time as a nurse practitioner, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 hour days. And AARP actually fit that profile really well. Like many of you today will do, I went to the volunteer link and signed up and didn't quite know where I would fit as a nurse, because all of the volunteer experiences I had were, health fairs, blood pressure checks, educating the public about general health issues. So I didn't know how AARP operated, and especially as it relates to my nursing background. So when I basically joined and had an interview, I was actually able to hear about all the opportunities available in Virginia. And at the time, they spoke about needing someone in the Speakers Bureau, which is basically being a presenter or speaker or facilitator. There's different roles that you can do for that, but they wanted somebody that was comfortable with public speaking. It's so funny because I'm not really that comfortable with public speaking, but I did try to think about the fact that I educate patients every day and their family members, so I probably can do this. And the topic that I teach once a month is decluttering and downsizing. You can't take it with you. We talk a little bit about how having too much stuff can impede, people taking care of their homes properly, and even people getting healthcare into their homes. As we know, now it's all about aging in place. So, it really helps the general public understand how to properly declutter their homes so that they can live a better life at home with their families for as long as they would like. So once a month, about an hour of my time, because that's all I have to give right now in this stage of my life with a toddler and working full time as a nurse. Once a month, I teach, and basically it's a presented presentation. There's a PowerPoint, there's slides that have notes attached to them to help you already know how to prepare if you're not that great at public speaking. And it's interactive, which I love. There's hundreds and hundreds of questions. We range from 200 to 250 as far as the average registration rate, but we've gone up to 500 at a time on one session. So it can feel a little bit overwhelming, and it is via Zoom. They do also offer in-person teachings as well. So overall, as a nurse, I'm such an advocate for nurses. So as a nurse, you all have the ability to be wonderful volunteers for AARP wherever you fit. But if you're interested in the Speakers Bureau, you definitely have it, because we do it every day in our work. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you, Genesis. Genesis is a wonderful, wonderful presenter, so natural. And I agree with you, Julie. Julie Anderson, Genesis is great. I agree.
Thank you.
We have some time, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. If you want to come off mute or just drop your might be faster to come off mute or put your question in the chat box. As Dr. Stephanie Malden has said, we really want you to take the next step would be to complete the online application, and that will get you directed to the person in your state office or in the program that you're interested in. Do we have any, I will selfishly ask, do we have any nurses from Virginia or Northern Virginia specifically? All right, Susan, you asked, what are the topics, some of the topics taught by the Speakers Bureau? We have Medicare 101, Social Security, Understanding Your Benefits. Let me get my cheat sheet here. The 6 pillars of brain health, Home Fit, which is about modifying your home and for safety and comfort. Caregiving 101, that's about preparing to be a caregiver. Protect yourself from frauds and scams. Downsizing and decluttering. And we have another one, it's called Sorting Fact from Fiction online. And there might be, we also have a retirement planning workshop that we do, and one around job search in the digital age. Yeah, so those are the ones that I might be forgetting some. If I am, perhaps.
I think Dr. Stephanie wrote also education about Medicare benefits. And then one thing I forgot to say in all these sessions is I also really appreciate the fact that when I've been doing these sessions, they really like my input in regards to the debriefing. And one thing I learned is some of our nursing knowledge that us nurses just know from taking care of patients can help with these sessions. Like in the downsizing and decluttering, we throw in that people should be checking their prescriptions to make sure that they're not expired, and then how to properly dispose of them. Like, don't let them pile up in your medicine cabinet. So all those little things that us nurses know when taking care of our patients, those come in handy when you are doing these opportunities. Okay, I'm done.
And I just want to share that Genesis mentioned that she could be on a Zoom with 250 people. She is there with a team of other volunteers. We don't throw her out there by herself and they swim. We have other volunteers who like to do the chat monitoring or help with the Q&A and don't want to be front and center, who will help run the show. What are some of the venues where speakers provide speeches? That was from Melissa. We do a lot at local libraries. They're always looking for programming. Some senior centers, we do a lot with communities of faith, churches, synagogues, some of the sororities and fraternities we presented to. Just varies, lots of different community organizations who will invite us. I hope that answers your question, Edna. Is there anything in patient safety when you enter the hospital? Is there anything in patient safety when you enter the hospital? Well, let me just say that we have what we call DIY, do-it-yourself toolkits. And I always tell volunteers, if you have an idea and you want to create a presentation that you think would be useful to the public, by all means, I am all ears and willing to take your ideas, because our best ideas come from our volunteers. When we think about our brain health program, that didn't come from AARP at the top level. That came from a volunteer in Virginia, and it worked its way up, and now it's a national program. So it does need to be vetted through our policy department. But it does, I would say that there are opportunities to bring your ideas and make something, create something, and hopefully add to our toolkit. Is there a topic on health literacy? There is not, but boy, do I think that would be a good one. And how to advocate for a patient. We We lightly touch on that in our caregiving presentation, but I definitely think we could probably expand it and go deeper with some of the knowledge. And then, I'm sorry, I think I may have missed a question. Stephanie, did I miss a question? Maybe not.
I believe Peg asked a question about what if there is no state contacts? Apparently, she must have tried that link.
Oh, okay, yes. So when you go and you click on the link, it's going to take you to a form, and that once you fill out that form, that's going to go to state office or the program. And when I say or the program, if you express an interest in tax aid or driver safety, that's going to go to those programs. Or I believe some of you may have gone to the Disrupt Aging in the classroom. That's going to go to the Disrupt Aging group. So there is no direct contact. You put your information in and we do connect with you.
Right.
And I'm going to hold all my colleagues accountable because I'm telling you.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. Just a little bit different than the previous two breakouts. When you go back to your internet browser after you press end in the bottom right corner of this session, you're going to go back to the main stage. It's the first option to click back on the agenda. And I know it says 4 o'clock next to it, but still click on the main stage. That's where they're going to do some closing thoughts and we'll hear from Will again. So thank you all.
Thank you all. I hope to see you again soon.